Okay, welcome everyone to Customer Journey in a Care Audit and Training. For the first part of the session, oops, don't know what's happened there. We called in on how we can improve wellbeing across the board in the care sector. Here we've got some common key challenges that we assist care providers with. I'll just run through the list. Some are around residents' journeys aren't clearly documented. Residents' retention is it could be poor feedback of residents, evidenced by their relationships with staff, could be quite poor. Poor communication between staff levels. All these common problems can affect your CQC rating. Looking at the mock inspection support, we've identified several steps that we could help you build and strengthen your care provision. The first step is around resident journey and identifying what your key strengths are and how you can actually stand out from the crowd. Third, we'll look at key performance indicators that are clearly focused on your resources, from technology down to human resources and training. Now, throughout the step of success, we've got 6 steps to success here, which are focused on KPIs, technology, partners and alliance, and processes. And Charmaine, are you with us?
Hi, Chanel.
Hi, Charmaine. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
In terms of your experience within managing care homes, what would you say the most fundamental thing is to improve the well-being of residents?
I think it's about communication, how we communicate, and the number of ways in which we can find to communicate with our residents. So, for example, what we found really useful is when residents are admitted into our service, we use our portal. They have access to a portal where they can document their personal journey through a diary system. They can opt to share that with their key worker, or they can keep that as a personal journey. So that's one way in which they can help with their well-being. And in addition to that, we find the key working session works really well. So we have a key working portal where they can document what's important to them and also the relationship that they have with their key worker. So they can also document what's important to them in the relationship with their key worker. It's then scored, and based on that score, the key worker and themselves will know where they are in their journey and can then set appropriate goals to help them to achieve the ultimate goal for them. And the other way that I think is quite important is we have educational tools for our clients where they can use to either take formal courses to help with their well-being and also as a resource centre for information. So, they may have articles or presentations, webinars about stress or various conditions, so they can tap into that and have more information. So so it's all about communication.
Excellent, thank you very much. So from what we can see here, from initial assessment to the admissions procedure, it's about how can we document, is your service safe, effective, caring, responsive, and well-led. What would you say under the initial assessment procedures, what would be the key thing to address in terms of well-being?
It would be what is important to them, what's important to me as a client, for example. So it's charting things that they like, things that they don't like, how they like to be communicated with. do they have any issues around communication? So it's just really nailing that side of things, I think, just really getting a good idea of how they want to be supported in their journey and how they want to be cared for.
Excellent. And I think that the care planning is paramount. There's so many.
Absolutely. That should, yeah, because that all forms part of the care plan. So yeah, all that information will form part of the care plan. It starts with the care plan.
Excellent. So looking at the key judgment ratings, not sure where the people are calling in from, but whatever level that you might be on, whether it's inadequate, requires improvement, good and outstanding, there are some key fundamentals that we could cover throughout the next 2 days, and how we can improve your care homes ratings. So looking at a parent's KPI would be, Charmaine, would it be technology?
Yes, I think to be able to measure your performance of the service using technology is really crucial in these days, because, especially where you have multi-sites, and you may not be able to physically be at a particular premises at any given time, but it's having access to the key bits of information that you need that's really important. Just getting a general oversight and being able to drill in, get your reports. So that's really crucial, I believe.
Excellent, thank you very much. So over the course of the next 2 days, we will be looking at wellbeing, how it can be improved for both staff and residents. And for today, the focus is the wellbeing, and tomorrow is looking at the future of the care sector and how that's evolved and what we need to actually on board, given that we've gone through quite a rough year with COVID as well. So I'll just now like to, anything else you'd like to maybe close with, Charmaine?
No, I don't think so. I think that I've said, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm going to pass you over to Colin and the team from Micro Strategies. Excellent. How are you, Colin?
Good morning. How are you all doing? So my name's Colin, and I'm the Chief Executive of Micro Strategies. And so just want to really go over the journey that we've been on. And as you can see, we're surrounded by lots of technology. We are a tech company. And finally, we've got a fantastic backstory to how all of this happened. So to take us through all of that, we've teamed up with one of our customers, and fantastically, Aetna actually made a video yesterday for us to talk about how the technology has been utilised in the care home, and then afterwards we can ask some questions. So initially, as we started off on our journey with one of these, which was a thermal imaging camera, and how we utilise these, we put these into the care home, into the residential areas, into the communal areas of the care homes. And within that, then, this is just monitoring the temperatures, the body temperatures of the residents throughout the day. And we've just seen it as a non-invasive way of monitoring the residents' temperature. Instead of going up there with one of those guns and putting it directly at them, this is a more friendly way. They're not aware of it happening. They're also being monitored consistently throughout the day. And on top of that, the government recently in the BBC News feed has turned around and said, look, you know what? These cameras are extremely accurate. They're to 0.00% accuracy. We calibrate them on a regular basis. This is a good way of utilising this technology. So that's where we started off. And then we moved into these, which are called a wellbeing panel. And then we moved into these, which is a sensory panel. And it's that journey that we've been on so far. So what I'd like to do now is turn on the video that Aetna made yesterday. And then after that, then we'd just like to pass over to Aetna just to say a few words on how she feels the technology has benefited her care home. Okay, so we go to the video.
Good morning, everyone. My my name is Ethna and I am the Regional Director for Care Fulfilment Limited, in which we have 3 care homes. And one of the care homes that I'm in at the moment, we have been using micro strategies to deliver us and make for us an interactive sensory table for our residents who absolutely love playing these games, which are so easy and so simple for them. You can have 2 players playing ping pong, they can do puzzles, and the residents are getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's fun all the way for our residents. CQC have also commented on the fact that we're using good technology and a more advanced technology for our residents. And over here we have our wellbeing panel. Now this panel we use for our residents, where they can have meetings with their families, do it through Zoom or WhatsApp or FaceTime. Nice large screen, perfect for family parties, where residents can feel that they're involved in their families. This has come in absolutely an amazing way, especially during our COVID lockdown, where they were able to see their families at any time they want. We've also introduced from micro strategies our smaller tables. These are for residents to take to their bedrooms, where they can have, again, very similar to our big table, they can have they can play games on it, they can have Zoom calls, family time, and it can be wheeled directly to their bedrooms, and they can take their calls in private. We have purchased 2 for the home at Millard. Corner House and Corner Lodge have got possibly 4 tables of these, and interactive tables, and the big TV wellbeing panel. And I think in times like this, it's very important that we consider our residents' wellbeing. And through micro strategies, it has allowed us to make good advanced wellbeing for our residents. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for that, Edna. We'd like to just go over to yourself and just tell us what you think of that technology, and how has the residents bought into this technology, and how was their initial reaction whenever they've seen it and on a daily basis.
Good morning, Colin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, as I said on the video clip that you've just watched, it has enriched the lives of our residents. They have just really picked up on this technology, and the fact that, especially with being able to have Zoom calls where they can actually see the faces of their loved ones, which has been so important, because before this technology, it would be a phone call and they couldn't hear on the phone, they weren't able to really interact with their families. And this has just created really good communication, which is great for their mental health and their well-being. We don't know how we've done without it.
That's amazing, Edna. Thank you so much. So, I mean, in regards to that, so this is my business partner, Ralph, a personal friend of mine for over 12, 13 years. Been a business partner for pretty much that amount of time as well. You know, we did have some bad news last year where both our fathers passed away, and within that day, we've seen traces in the care homes of our dads, and it was, you know, from seeing, if we had something like this, like, you know, my dad, he must have phoned me 100 times a day, and just to have that contact that he wanted. And I think if we had, you know, if we only seen that, or we seen then, we would have seen that, you know, just something as simple as what this is would have just made such a difference to the lives. It was, you know, this isn't crazy advanced technology. It's a PC, it's a webcam, it's a large TV with a with a soundbar behind it, and just would allow my dad to see us in the full vision of what it is, and then a 4K camera sits on top, so therefore the vision and the sight is replicated on both ways, and this is really simple, but it changed their lives, and then from in that then. The first time I deployed the first one of these screens, we went in there and we used it for karaoke first thing in the morning. So first thing in the morning, what's going on? Just like this for talking to their loved ones because they love it. But, so we installed a karaoke app, and so as soon as we go generally old first thing in the morning, and added a wireless microphone. Then it goes into the middle of the day, and in the middle of the day it turns into where they're phoning their video calling their loved ones on this one. And then it goes to the end of the day and it goes to more training sessions for the actual staff in the carers in the care homes and so on. So how that looks is you've got Word, Excel, Publisher, at this point you can have a whole room full of the carers, obviously it's very important. And a whole room full of the carers at that point then also training like Chanel was explaining. And then you're still getting the group, and there's still that group interaction as opposed to just being on a laptop and it's being a one situation going on. So that was really cool, and that works really, really well. The next thing is that as they went through the care home journey, we found that they weren't allowed to have any visitors, so the residents were not allowed to go out. That was an amazing thing because in the care home world, they have schools that come visit, Girl Guides that come visit, Boy Scouts, and the nutritional football team, and all of that stopped. All of a sudden, the residents have all of this interaction, and then there is nothing at all, and it's like there's a big void in their day. And what do they do? That was great. It helped a lot. And then the next thing we went on to was this, which is basically like a huge tablet. And the first version that we added to it is one where it's just static on, it was just like a table. This one itself goes up and down to different heights, to be tilted. And then within that, then it's the simpleness of the game. It's like the simpleness of the technology. At this point, you can have 4 people sitting around the table. You can have up to 6 people sitting around the table. And now they're interacting with each other, and it's not so much as just like the residents watching the television and just utilising their day that way. They're more mobile, they're physically doing something, and it's a great tool in many ways of doing that. And then there's smaller versions, as you've seen, which is then on a more personal basis. They can take them into their rooms, they can then make video calls on them. And it's just understanding what it is the care home goes through to what we can do as a technology company. From when we turned up, what definitely happened was the amount of work that was added to the care every day, the amount of work that had to be done. Then, unfortunately, the numbers of carers went down because people were ill and so on. So the work went up, the amount of staff went down, and then there's all of this additional work that's going on. So we just seen it as our role as to make life easier, and to make their lives more enjoyable to where they are at the moment. So that's how we feel we've helped it. As a business, we've even gone further than that. We have some more new technology, which we're going to show you in a little bit. But that's what we do. This is what our business is. Our business is the other things we see it on the screen behind me. But this, for us, has given us the best reward so far. It's really, we feel like we've given back to.
There's a question that just actually through regarding the wellbeing panel. Is there an opportunity to trial the wellbeing panel?
Yeah, of course. So we do this on a regular basis. So what we do is on a week loan. We'll set it up specifically for your requirements and your needs. And we'll talk through it. We'll have one of our guys come down and we'll have to show you how it works. Brilliant. Any other questions? Okay, so like I say, on the budget, really simple PC. The best thing that we've done for this is when you turn it on, it configures directly straight into what is needed. So it finds this camera, it finds the application, Skype, Zoom, Teams, whatever's needed, and then so make it as simple as possible.
I have a question. What games does it table?
So basically, the games that we developed for it are sensory games. So it's all about stimulation of the mind. They're not, groundbreaking games, but whenever we see the residents of an older age use them, they understand it. And you'll see from the videos on our website that they actually straight away, and they really love it. So I think the first one was it's all about Christmas time last year, and there was this tree and baubles on it. They were loving it. They were like smashing the baubles. It was a good game. Yeah, I think most of the baubles were broken. But anyway, it was a good game on this and for them to engage into it. So, any other questions from Chris? No?
Not that.
Okay, so then moving on to the next product that we have. So I'd like to introduce is a young man called Jacob, and he's got fantastic technology, and this is just recently done a collaboration with. So I'd like to pass you on to Jacob at this point. Jacob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Fantastic.
Yeah, great. Can you see my picture also? Yeah, the picture is all right? Okay.
Yes, everything is fine from our end.
Okay, great. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me as part of your meeting this morning. I'm sending directly from Denmark at our headquarters from beautiful Odense. I'm Jacob Mortensen. I'm the sales director for UVD Robots here in Europe, and we're pleased to partner up with MicroStrategies in the UK for the promotion and usage of the UVD robots, which you see in the back behind me here in our showroom. So, what is this? Well, this is the world's only third generation autonomous ultraviolet robot meant to disinfect surfaces autonomously. So it's using ultraviolet light on the tower to basically kill all types of bacteria and viruses on surfaces with the light. So I'm just going to show you how it's now running around in our showroom. We have a showroom in here, as you can see, that is supposed to be like a patient room or elderly care home with a toilet and a bed. And what it does is that it drives around to various positions to get as close as possible to the critical high-touch surfaces, like, for example, a toilet would be, to emit the UVC light onto surfaces to kill these bastards. So what you're talking about here is that in a very, very short period of time, this room is 40 square meters, you'll be able to achieve something like a 99.99% kill rate of all known bacteria and viruses. And that is, of course, autonomously. That means staff can do something else while this robot does the disinfection. The disinfection happens after a normal cleaning, so it just has to be clean. And then this robot does the rest. It's worth noting that the disinfection here is chemical free. That means it is only using the light. So whenever the robot here is done driving through the room, as now you can see, it finds its way to the other side of the patient bed. The room is ready to use again. You don't need any chemicals to dry up or any air to reset before you can have people in the room again. It's perfect for elderly homes, for example, the patient rooms, but also for larger areas where the level of disinfection to be reached, of course, is more difficult the larger the room is. But the good thing with the robot is it can be autonomously driving around to various areas within the let's call it the canteen, the restaurant, the meeting rooms, etc. So now it went past the beds, went to the toilet, and now it goes to the desk for disinfecting the high touch areas around the tables and the chairs. the UVC is built into the robot with multiple safety systems. So there is all sorts of 3D cameras, sensors, and just like a car, basically, to make sure that the car will not hit anyone when on autopilot. So now it comes back to the final position. It's done. The light switch is automatically off, and a tablet, which is used as a perimeter safety, will autonomously tell you that that the disinfection has been completed. And well, what I do now is I just click submit to see what has been achieved, and I can tell the robot to leave the room, and it can automatically then
Hey, I think Jacob got a little bit frozen there, but he's far away. He's all the way over in Denmark. Is he back?
Sorry, I think I just lost it for a second. Okay, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I just had a loss of connection. So that was just a quick introduction. Any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you very much, Jacob. One question that came through is, are people allowed in the room with the robot while in operation?
No, so this is ultraviolet C light. So by definition, the room should be empty while the robot is disinfecting. So so it would have to work as part of, so the integrating into the workflow in the sense that, once people are out for lunch, or if you have empty rooms or during cleaning, then you can use the robot. As you can see from this example, it takes around about 5 minutes to disinfect the room this size. Of course, depending on which sort of pathogens you are looking at killing.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And then back over to Colin from MicroStrategy.
Thank you, Chanel.
Well, Colin, we had a question earlier, which was around how do we go about scheduling a cleanse cleaning with new equipment?
Fantastic, thank you for that. So, like I say, we've just teamed up with UVD Robots. So we are the licensed partner of UVD in the UK. So what we've done in this scenario is, because these robots are extremely expensive bits of kit, and it's too much it's such a financial strain to ask the care homes themselves to actually take this financial burden onto them. So what we've decided to do is offer this product as a service. Because in addition to that, you probably wouldn't want to have every single area in your care home disinfectant. So the service that MicroStrategy is now offering is as a service. So for example, if you have a care home, you say like the only areas that we want to have disinfectant is the communal area, the restaurant canteen where everybody eats, the kitchen itself, then that's the only area. So what would happen is one of our vehicles would turn up to your care home, and they would do a detailed map of that whenever the area is actually vacant, and then we let the robot go about its business and it disinfects the area, and then we come back and then we collect the robot, and then we move on to the next one. So this is a service that ourselves and UVD have been working on. We feel it's more beneficial because you're only targeting the areas that you wish to target. You're only using it on the times it's actually needed, and therefore the service becomes more available to more care homes in the area. So what we've done is we've put together a short video that will give an overview of how this service actually operates. So if you could just go over to our video now. Thank you.
Thank you.
as you can see, thank you very much. So as you can see there, it's just making it more accessible to more people. There's also some fantastic additional information. There's an adult social care infection control grant, which is available to you. So this fund is worth over 600 million. It's available till the end of June. And for this, it's actually available to you right now, easy to apply for. And therefore, you can use it. And it's a great way of trying out our service and to see if it's something that is applicable to you. I mean, ultimately, where we're going with this is to make the lives of your residents a better place. That's all we're about. From seeing their loved ones, to monitor them on a daily basis, to making their lives a little more interactive with their co-residents that are there, and then on top of that, then looking at the disinfectant and doing it in such an efficient way that it just makes that home a place to be. So like I say, if you'd like to go on there, so our website itself is ubddisinfectant.uk. If you'd like to go on there just to see how it is. One of the questions that somebody is asking is, how do I know how big it is? So like I say, it works on a square meterage. So on a square meterage, it's like, so 15 square meters, 150 pounds. If you're not sure what that equates to, just give us a call. We can come down, we can do an assessment, because we have to do a detailed mapping of your premises in any case. We have some special offers that are coming on that, so we can trial these initially to see if they're suited to your environment. And let's see how we go. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, a question that came through earlier, Colin, was
one of the questions, how do we go about scheduling one of the robots? So literally, the video that was shown there, we're going to reach out to everybody that's online, and you can just call us up. We have a call center here. We'll take your call. If you just want to go online and make that booking, we can do that too. So what I'd like to do is to show you the video again and just have a look over it, and then at the end we'll see if there's any more questions. Okay, over to you.
Mostly 100%, sometimes 50%, some in one case declined. So I would say that he's quite stable with food and fluid.
We must have finished.
Hey, thank you for that. So just going back to another question come in, with you CQC visit, how will this help the assessments that are coming in? So we're going back to what Esther was saying in her experiences when the CQC come with her previously this last month. All of these bits of the kit massively assisted her on the CQC. They're looking for innovative technology. When we say innovative technology, it doesn't have to be cutting edge like this. It can be just something as simple as this, where you're just changing the lives of the residents. You're making that difference. You're making it more enjoyable. Like, our experience with this on residents using mobile phones and telephones to talk to people, it's difficult for them to see on such a small device when you're looking at this. And CQC absolutely love it. The next side of this of the CQC is the training of the staff and the carers in the care home. So now you have a device that is actually there ready to show you on a larger scale. You're training lots of people. there's external help that can actually speak to the people on that level. So what I do is show you another video, and this one is of the first day that we actually deployed one of our tables into the care home. So let me turn this video on for you now. Please enjoy. Really.
prostate cancer survivor and founder of the Errol McKellar Foundation. I'm at MicroStrategies with my friend and CEO, Colin Trainer. Together we have developed a fantastic tech analyzing table using my 40 years of experience in football coaching and match analyzing.
So, thank you for watching that. I'd like to introduce Mr. Errol McKellar, MBE. Not that he might not mention it, but Errol's been awarded the MBE for his dedication to prostate cancer awareness, and it's a journey that Errol's been on for a long time, and personally affected you. And then we went on a journey ourselves after that. So tell us about yourself. And
well, for me personally, I mean, you know what, I'm really honoured to be here with my good friend Tom Trainer and the team from MicroStrategies, because these guys have helped me with my research work in terms of getting the message out about prostate cancer. They've been really instrumental in getting me to understand what the technology is that takes to get things together to do the testing of prostate cancer. And where MicroStrategies and myself have taken this to another level is that, not only did we want to address the situation here, we also wanted to address the situation in Africa and the Caribbean as well. But, this is more about the fantastic work that's actually happening in this building. The team here are absolutely fantastic. We've done some stuff right where I've given them some ideas which they have actually brought into the 21st century. So, Colin, I know he's going to explain a lot more about the bits and pieces.
Like I said, and this journey before COVID turned up, and then what happened with my father and Ralph. it was with Errol, and Errol said, listen, we want to do this project in the Caribbean, and we want to raise awareness of early detection first, and so we're deploying these in places in remote villages in the Caribbean. So then for them to go in, there was like a big touchscreen display, which we're very familiar with. And then they were booking mobile surgeries, the camera was checking them for any fevers and things like that. And that's kind of how the journey started off. And then within that, then they brought this back to the UK and he look, deploying mobile surgeries here. And that goes on. And it's like this is the theme of where we are and what we've been working on. Everyone's also been heavily involved in football for 40 years. And then this is where these tables ended up being in Premiership football clubs and assisting that. So it is a great journey. And I think when you enjoy what you do, it really makes a difference to the people at the end who actually get to use our products and get to feel it. So we've had a fantastic time and a fantastic journey going through it.
Yeah, I would like to sort of add to that because, thanks to this wonderful team in here, they helped me to form the Errol McKenna Foundation. What I learned from doing that is, knowledge is blessed really, and being in a building like this allows me every day to add what I think I know to these wonderful guys, right, who have actually taken it and, as I said, dragged it into the 21st century. But, technology is key now, and it's going to be part of our life. So it's understanding what technology brings and what it does and how it helps to improve us.
And that's what you said, it's like the ease of using it. It's like no point having something as technical as that. And then the person who actually uses it at the end, they have difficulty using it. So even as simple as that, like if this doesn't turn on and it automatically kicks into the correct camera, the correct browser, and then so we can WhatsApp the links out to their families, and we just have one click, and then the camera's live, the whole video session is live. There's no point. There's no point. So it's not just about making the technology, it's making it easy for the end user. There's something really simple that we've done, which is this. This is what we call our self-disinfecting hand gel. So basically this gets stuck to a door and then this goes on the front of it. And then basically every time someone pushes open the door, the disinfectant goes directly onto your hand. So they last about a week, but it's really simple and it's really clever. The people that actually manufacture this have been manufacturing it for a long time. The design inside is that the gel doesn't always stick to the bottom, it stays consistent all the way through it. So for this line, and then all you do is then you just come along, you just remove this one, gets disposed of. The new one comes in a completely sealed wrapper, just undo it, and then clips onto the front. And it's just a really simple, clever idea. And especially like, if you think you're in a care home, the moment that you arrive at the care home, you've touched the door, you've touched the handle. So this then is just make it, until you get into that safe environment, we're doing everything that we can, from checking body temperatures to facial recognition technology to these. So what we'd like to do is, to everybody on the call, we'd like to offer you these free samples, and we'll send these out to you. We'll send them out to you for 1 to 2 weeks. Just see how you feel about these. It's something that can work. Like I say, really simple technology, really effective, super effective. Gets the point across.
It's about the fascinating feeling that we had when we were in the care home, and just the joy that people were getting by just using the touch screen just to play games, and taking part, and actually getting those people to get out of their seats and actually get involved in what was going on. That's really stimulating for their minds, their soul. It was just so interesting to watch them, and it's fascinating, isn't it?
It was. I mean, that lady that come through that first time, and then she come over and she was like, she walked really slowly to get to the table, and then she just disregarded everybody else. She just wanted to. She understood the game instantly, and the joy that cheer that you get. I think there's a video that was actually showing.
Well, the truth of the matter is, she beat me at the game.
Well, you're right.
Well, I put my hand up. It just goes to show the fascination of interacting with people, and especially in the care home, where a lot of times people are sitting down, spending hours and hours, not actively doing anything. And, to get them engaged, to get them involved, to see the joy on their face when...
Yeah, and then the other side of it, exactly what Errol was saying there, the other side of it is then, what COVID has done is it's blended all of this paperwork and legislation onto the actual workers in there. And it's like, at that point now, the attention of the residents has been taken away. And it's been so to give that back, you know, give the time back to the people that deserve the time, give the residents what they deserve, you know, and it's just like that stimulation and like, you know, they've got the opportunity to just sit there and just watch TV, and they'll do that. But, you know, if you've got something that can make 3 or 4 people, 6 people sit around the table, conversation starts, it reminds you of this, you've got other people down the other end of the room, they're singing karaoke on this, that is an amazing environment. Power of song, the power of music is fantastic. And then getting the message across to a group of employees, the staff that work in the care homes, saying, look, this is what's happening in the world today. This is the message that we need to be following. This is the latest variant that we need to be looking for, whatever the subject is, or getting care homes to talk to each other. And then at that point, listen, we've got these shells, we've got these robots that can come in that will make all of our lives a safer and better place to be. So this is what we are. Like, thanks to this wonderful man who comes in and he says, no, guys, you should do this. Yes, yeah, we should. So, but it's great, and it's those points that makes us what we do.
I think we just got to remind ourselves that care homes are not just the end of the road. It should also be a continuation where we are, and enjoy being there, enjoy the people that are working in those buildings as well. Together, it's a family.
It's a family, and it's a celebration of who they are and where they've been. I mean, I've been into some care homes, and you see them, and they just like love that conversation between, you know, the carers and the residents, and they all sit there and tell them their stories all day. And you know what I love about the workers and the carers? They love listening to them, and it's giving them that time, because that is making their lives better, and that's what we're about. And if we can do that through simple things like this, which we find simple, or these guys find simple, that's the way to do it. Okay. So, just want to see if there's any more questions.
No, I just wanted to reiterate that it's very, very important that care homes remember that, you know, they are part of the family network, right? And it's about keeping people occupied, keeping people happy in a care home. That spreads joy, that spreads excitement, because, you know, when you go there, you don't want to just go and visit somebody and think, can't wait to get out of the building. It's got to be a place of invite, and that's what care home is. You know, it gives a lot of love, it gives a lot of care. You know, I mean, you know, I'm honoured to watch the staff working in the care home, the work that they do. Right, you know, it's not about money. They love their job. Everyone you meet in the care home loves the job that they do.
And the care for the residents.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, so we're just going to go back with earlier before you arrived that we were talking about the robots. And I remember when everyone first said, he goes, robots now? Robots, really? Have we not got enough technology going on? We've got robots running about, please?
You know, it's been interesting, man. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I'm always fascinated when I come into this building every day, because, you know, the team that's in this building are so fantastic. You give them an idea, and they not only walk with it, they run with it, because they want to help to make a massive difference out here in the world. And I think that is important. And, you know, listen, who would have thought 30, 40 years ago we would have had robots doing cleaning? You know, you grew up watching your nan do tidying and housework, and that was the norm. Now we've got robots that will go around and actually do these things. And I've got to tell you, it's absolutely fantastic watching it. You know, at my age, I'm still getting excited watching this thing moving around the building.
That's amazing. So just across now to Jacob. Have you any questions, Jacob?
Yes, I'm on. Yes, I'm here. What's the question, please?
So just going to go back to the subject. So one of the things I was going to say to you is, what kind of areas can the robot cover?
The robot can basically cover any type of area, all the way from small rooms of, down to toilet size, up to larger, the robot can cover any type room from toilet size up to larger open area spaces like canteens, public areas in such case. Yes.
And a massive point I was I actually know the answer to this one, but I just want everybody else to understand it, is the accreditation that UVB has Like I understand that the European Union purchased over 200 of these robots directly, and they gave these to hospitals all the way across Europe. So would you like to explain the other accreditations that you've been awarded?
Yeah, so just on that point, so I mean, we were not invented because of hospital-acquired infections and infections happening also in elderly care homes with people. So we started back in 2015, and that's why the robot that you just saw is our third generation one with the latest and greatest technology. And as a result of that, the European Commission had a emergency funding for helping hospitals and therefore also staff and patients against COVID this year. And they, in an open tender, selected UVD robots to deploy more than 200 robots across hospitals in Europe, which we are currently doing and will be doing for the next 6 months, I think. So that was a really nice recognition. And they only did that because of our track record, our independent lab results, and our high efficiency and ease of use.
So on that then, I mean, even in the UK, there's robots that have been deployed already. I know that there's some in St. Pancras train station, Heathrow Airport. There's some hospitals as well in London. Is that correct, Jacob?
Yeah, we have various NHS contracts where the UVD robot or UVC as such as a technology is approved. We have various, let's call it non-healthcare environments, as you just said, being, for example, Heathrow Airport and St. Pancras Station. And a lot of traction right now because we can see that this is just a very, very nice solution combining very efficient disinfection with minimal labor involvement and minimal disruption to the everyday life of the organization that it's in.
Exactly that. And, this is the point that, the solution that MicroStrategy has come together with UVD is, the people that I named earlier, your Heathrow Airports, your St. Pancras, obviously these organizations have huge budgets and they can accommodate these robots to that value. Whereas what we want to do is we want to bring this solution, like you said, Jacob, it's an extremely efficient way of disinfecting the area. It can be done relatively quickly. We want to be able to bring it to all care homes that can bring it to them. And in addition to that, so like I said, we have these robots, we have the vehicles, we are nationwide. We will literally, we'll come there, we'll map your premises, and after they've been mapped, then we can just deploy the robots. So it's just a matter of we just need to just come see and let's disinfect and then make your environment as safe as it can be.
And I think just on that note, the fact of this being a robotic solution, that means that once it's mapped, it will do the same thing over and over again. It doesn't have, bad Mondays or any type of human fatigue. It will ensure this very high level of disinfection. And on top of that, because you have the integrated reporting and validation, you can actually track how well did it do, and do we actually reach the areas that are of importance. So you can also improve your hygiene level with this device.
And so one of the questions that's coming in, a very direct question, it says, does it kill COVID? So Jacob, yes. You can answer that in a more...
Well, I can answer very directly and say, yes, actually, COVID is not the problem. That's also why I started saying we were not invented because of COVID, because there are much more difficult pathogens out there, being the multi-resistant Staphylococcus and E. coli and what have you. Now, it was tested against COVID in the Boston University, and I can tell you that if the robot runs at a 1 meter distance to a COVID surface, it will take 10 seconds to get to a log 6 reduction. That's 6 nines, meaning 99.9999% kill rate in 10 seconds.
Amazing. And that's phenomenal to hear. The next one is, what different surfaces can it disinfect?
It can literally disinfect all types of surfaces. Chairs, tables. It's light, so it's like imagining you driving with your light on your car. So everywhere the light hits, will be affected by this light.
Fantastic. And then if somebody was in the room with a robot, what would happen?
It would immediately shut down the light. So it has a combination of 3D cameras, infrared sensors, and LiDAR scanners, as we call them. So they dynamically and live monitor both for movements and also heat coming from persons or animals. So even before I was able to open the door down there, it would recognize something and it would shut down so that the light will not hit anyone. And then let's call it, if it was in an elderly home, someone would walk into that room where the disinfection happens. Then they would say, oh, right, there's a disinfection going on. Close the door again. And the robot will, after 10 seconds, autonomously resume action.
So on that one, then that was the next question, was if something fell over in the room, or if a pet came in, like a cat or a dog, which you've already answered. And then the final one was after that, so what happens after? So if the robot is disturbed, then it analyzes the room after the disturbance, and then it will continue if everything is clear. So if, for example, there was a pet or an animal that was still present, then I think it would still stop.
Absolutely. Yes, safety is our utmost priority here. And what is maybe also important to note is that it also has timed disinfection. So you can also just set it to run at a certain point in time when you know the room is free.
Jacob, this is Errol McKellar speaking here. I just would like to ask you a question on behalf of all the residents in the care homes. I'm going to thank you in advance because, the care home is somewhere where hygiene and cleanliness is very, very important. And you may just have come up with the ideal answer to help that staff that are working in the care homes to be able to continue their great work, knowing that they've got something in the corner that they can bring out to get on with doing the duties of care, really, more than anything else. So on behalf of all the care homes, I really hope come on board with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you also. We're here to help.
So just going back over to one of the previous ones. So like I say, there is a grant available until the end of June. And there's ample money still in the grant. So the grant is called Adult Social Care Infection Control Fund. So, and you can apply for it more than once. I think 2, maybe 3 times. The third one I might need to confirm on there. And it is specifically for this. It's specifically about, giving you guys the opportunity to look at alternative methods of disinfectant. The other thing is, well, when you're looking at to disinfect an area, how long does it take? How long would it take for us to come in, disinfect that area versus how long would it take an individual to come along and disinfect the area? I'm not talking about cleaning, I'm talking about disinfecting. So the cleaning will still continue, will still be as it is, but what we're looking at is the disinfection of that actual area. So like I say, if you want to check out our website on that, so it's UV disinfection.uk. So let me say that again, uvdisinfection.uk. So it's on the video that we're going to play really, really shortly. We were due to have a young man from Care. Oh, we had it. So he's on. So we're all good. I was about to talk some more, which I'm sure you'll be pleased about. So when are we going over? We're ready to go over now. So let me pass you over to a young man called Stephen from Care Consort, and he's to talk to you about TNA. Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome, Stephen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Earlier we spoke about the need for care homes to be compliant and the different areas, the 6-step process. What I'm quite keen for you to explore is how technology from a care compliance point of view can actually improve reporting for CQC.
Okay, just 1 second now. I'm going to go into my presentation. Okay, so can you see my screen? So I'm going to focus on technology as Schnell has mentioned, and we're going to talk about benefits and how it can be done to help improve the customer journey. Okay. Now, first I'd like to say that technology will not actually get you outstanding alone. It's not going to happen. Now, what you're using, it's I'd like to say it is going to be like a silver bullet, but it's not. It's a lot more than that. I've been in the care industry for 30 years, and just giving my background, started off with a small little care home for 3 people. Services turning over 3 million a year. And it wasn't technology that allowed us to scale, it was having other things in place. Technology is an aider, it will assist you, but you have to think about the bigger picture. And today I'm going to show you what I feel is going to enable these great technology innovations, such as what Colm was showing you earlier and spoke about, and what Snella's spoken about earlier. I'll show you how to allow these technologies to enable you to become outstanding. Okay, so I'm going to start the presentation now, and you can talk about the problem for the care journey. So 3 things that affect the quality of care. It's really simple. It's processes, it's people, and it's performance. Okay, now these are the 3 areas that we have to get right, because we've all seen the programs and on Horizon or on the news about the cases where these 3 areas go wrong. Okay, and it's always one of these 3 areas. I remember the one on Panorama a few years ago. We all know the one that really hurt our hearts when we saw those carers abusing those poor people. And no, to be honest with you, people, it wouldn't matter what technology they had in place. If the people are working in that environment and have that mindset, it's not going to help. So this is what I'm talking about. So, or some of you may actually have great people, but you may be thinking like, no, you know what, I've got great people, but I'm snowed down with the admin. The paperwork's killing me. I've got to fill out this. I've got the policy procedure booklet to make sure everyone's signed. I've got to check the medication mark sheets through all the. I mean, it could be the people are great, but the procedures you've got are weighing you down. Some of you may be thinking, well, actually, you know what? Great people, great processes, but when I have inspections, sometimes we're failing. Why is that? Is it because we're not able to with the performance then? So okay, so people are there, processes there, but how about performance? Who's actually making sure you're performing? Many ways to get around performance. Some of you may have consultants that you link with that come and do mock inspections, and you may have all kinds of aids to assist you with that. But again, a lot of it's going to be band-aiding it. It's going to be in terms of firefighting, because you're often going to be going back over what you didn't get right, and you take people to come in and help you with that performance. Whereas what we need to do is to build a performance into the system, basically. So, okay, so we look at, for example, Winterburn in terms of how could people have avoided that by monitoring performance and process for putting great things in place for people and processes. And today we will discuss around these areas. But basically the problems is that you will fail unless you're not structured like this. So the first thing people fail on, often they're using fragmented, so often they're firefighting. As discussed earlier, you're always getting looking to find out why things went wrong, and then you deal with it. Big problem in care, because when things go wrong in care, they can go wrong big time, and it can cost you your liberty and someone's life. So firefighting is not a great strategy to have in place. So we have to occasionally, but we can't build businesses like that. I think that so in terms of administration, I said we can make it easier for staff to make administration lighter. Because a lot of the time it's so heavy, people can't bother to do it, or they're just ticking boxes. It's just tasks. Okay, I've done that task, ticked it off. Yes, okay. But it's not actually allowing you to improve the care journey for anybody, really. You're just ticking it off. If on paper, it's even more difficult for you. But in terms of inadequate training, that's something that I found it comes up a lot in terms of why the care sector's failing, because people feel that they're not adequately trained or inducted. You've seen many occasions where, we had a situation actually years ago where there was a an agency worker that came on duty, and I never forget it because she worked with us for quite a while actually. And on this day, I don't know, maybe she had problems at home, or maybe she was just in a hurry for whatever reason. What she's done is that she didn't show a level of caring and compassion when she was bathing a client. And by not testing the water first, she caused a significant burn to a client. And I'll never forget the call I had that day to say, you know what, a client got burnt within your service. And as a provider, whether it's agency staff or your own staff, you're going to have that same, your heart's going to jump out basically. And you will have that same feeling emotion. It could have been my mother or anybody, but this is actually a person that's worked within care. She's been trained within her agency, but when they come through your doors into your company, you and I are responsible for them. So how do you, as a provider, ensure that they're adequately trained to do things that we think that we take for granted, basically, in terms of bathing? You have granted that you have induction processes are in place to ensure that agency workers come in and they have the same standards as your current staff. How do you check that? I mean, you're probably thinking right now to yourself, okay, yeah, we have agency all the time. They come in and they may or may not give personal care, but we haven't tested them. We don't know. We kind of trust them, take it for granted, right? Because that's what we do a lot of the time, because they haven't always got time, or not even time, but maybe it's the process isn't there to vet the level of training around key areas. So these are things that that can bring down your service. And finally, leadership, because if the leaders aren't involved in terms of setting the processes up, okay, then it's going to break down. So the leadership is so critical. You can only step back once the processes are in place that allow you to build the team leaders and the managers and the staff into becoming better leaders themselves, because they have to have the process in place. So we're going to now move on, and I think that we've seen what some of the outcomes can be if we're failing in these areas. And now we're going to look at the care journey, and we're going to look at ways that we can actually improve. So I think that around performance, the first thing that we need to really look, what we teach at Care Consult is we have the complete care service tracker. I think that's so critical. Okay, that's something that you need. We call it Care for now. And another way that we've managed to solve the procedures, I say problems because there are a lot of problem with procedures, is using the educational values-based structure. Okay, and for the people problems that are so prevalent within care, I find that what we've done is we've built an easy, safe, and personalized system. Okay, and we call it safe because these are the key ways that you can solve the problems with the performance procedures and the people. So I'm going to be quick. I know I haven't got that long, but we're going to start with the complete care service tracker and how we built it. So what we've started with, I think the key is basically to make sure that we're all in the CQC. A lot of us may not be CQC registered, but working towards CQC standards. Maybe it's living that meant like personal care, but you're still working towards the standards that are going to maintain safety and the highest levels of care. So we've built compliance into our system, and that's been the backbone of it, because we have a separate auditing suite. It's not better. We have an auditing suite integrated into our system to allow you to do CLOEs on the fly, to allow you to then action those CLOEs and make people give them actions and so forth, and to keep it consistent and to make sure that everyone knows what page they're on. So compliance has to be built into your system. It's not about ticking off medication's been done or ticking off an assessment has been done, but you want to be able to drill down and see the assessment. You want to drill down and see the CLOE audit and see what's gone into it, where the measures are, the sources. You've got to see that at a glance. You can't be looking for an email. Oh, and I know I had a consultant come and do that a month ago. I've got to find that email, and that's not going to work. It needs to be at your fingertips. So we thought, okay, let's build it into the platform. Secondly, you need to make sure that once you've got compliance built in, that people that have been allocated tasks are accountable, because accountability is what makes people basically makes them work harder because suddenly, hold on, this is on my name. I can't pass it over to somebody else. This is a task that's been given to me to make sure that we tick that Chloe box and that we are safe. So in my inbox, I will, if it's coming to me, I will have any number of tasks relating to that audit, relating to the Chloe audit to keep my service safe. Or it could be any one of your staff members are going to have tasks allocated to them directly. So there's no emails floating about. There's no one to pass the buck to. It's in their box, and we've all got visibility over that. Thirdly, I think that you need to be able to track all your resources, including that's your staff, that's your financial resources, the client's personal, could be your training resources. You need that in one single source of truth, because that's how you're going to be able to see, okay, where are we in terms of learning plans? Again, these are your resources, your training resources. Where are you in terms of your medication, your learning medication? Are you getting alerts, or just log in to get that alert? Do you get an email if you've got learning medication coming? Like, all the resources have to be able to, again, at the touch of a button in one single solution. And the critical thing here, I think, is about how so you get the information, you track it all, the systems that you use, no matter what system you use. That's why I said to you, technology will not get you there unless it allows you to evaluate. And evaluations are key, because by getting information fed in the system, it's all about the evaluation. And when I say that, I'm talking about from a bottom down and top up. So what we do, okay, is we have a governance structure. So, but we allow the governance meetings to be done within the system, but it allows us to evaluate those meetings. How effective was that governance meeting, or how effective was that the training that took place? Evaluation is the key. Evaluating your services will allow you to make changes and respond accordingly quickly. So it's consistently evaluating what's happening and making changes, not just recording. Okay, so in terms of tracking a complete service, it's very important that no matter what system you use, allow you to do your complete service, and so you're not logging in and out of different systems. We look at the procedures, how we've built our service, service around educational values-based structures. This, I feel, is a central personalized system. The values of your service, how embedded is it? I mean, it has to become, this is your anchor. And the whole, any system you're using, technology or paper, whatever it is, you need to make sure that it transmits your values to everybody, not just to your staff, and to your clients, to their families, to the MDT team. We've got to make sure that the systems we're using have that built in. So that's what we've done. We've built the values into the system. So the staff log in, bam, they're getting your values. They cannot miss them. It's got to be that easy. I know a lot of people may say, well, our values on the website. That's great. But how often do your staff go on the website, or your clients, or your social workers? They may, when they first join you, have a look at what you're about, but I guarantee you ask your staff, what are your values? They won't know. You may not even remember what they are yourselves. Okay? So what I'm trying to say to you is the values have to be in your face all the time. Okay? And in all your communication, your values need to be coming through. That's the way we built the system, to make sure that they can't forget. When the CQC come and ask them, okay, well, what are your values? It's black and white because they're always seeing them. Okay? This is the systems that you need to make sure that you're building into your service, to make sure that they are values-based systems. And it will come through in ways, well, when you get the values-based systems right, you will find that the culture is going to be automatically in place, because you're only going to hire people that have the right values, because your recruitment process, the values are going to be built into that, because that's how we do it. Your policies, well, how does this policy affect your values? Your meetings, well, how does this meeting meet the outcomes? How does it promote your values? So this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying embedding your values into the procedures. Technology on its own will not do that. You need the right technological innovation. You need using the right system that have this automated, so you haven't got to think about it. It's just there. Okay, so the culture, it's like walking into Apple shop. You know, you're going to get that. The staff members will be buzzing about, they'll be happy, they'll be asking questions, because they're hired based around their values. The great companies, they do values-based recruitment. And basically, they're making sure that people have to actually evidence how their values have helped them match in the past, and how does that actually match with the company values. So these are things that we embed in our systems in terms of ensuring that the cultures are created in accordance to your values, because it's those deep-seated values that actually affect the behaviors. And as long as you can keep people thinking about their values, they're less likely to do negative behavior. So, for example, when I mentioned to you earlier about that lady that burnt that client, if on that day, if she was able to log in and would have seen our values around empathy and so forth, and if that triggers something in their mind to remind them what empathy is about, and they're more likely to have it's about reminding them about what's important as well. So sometimes people can forget. So it's about making sure that you have appropriate triggers to keep people, bring them back to base. Triggers that are going to say, okay, this is what it's about. Okay, yeah, I may have had a stressful night last night, but this is why I'm here. Okay, so it's having tools that allow you to promote that culture. And it may be, for example, what we do. We have forums and community rooms that allow people to express how they what have they done to promote your culture, so they can talk about and upload photographs and have a complete discussion around the great things that they're doing and how these impact, how they promote their values. So we're going to move on to, once you've got this culture in place, it's going to allow you to more collaborate, and the collaborations are going to be done in a way that ensures people are feeding back and forth information, and again, it's all about that collaboration from the top to the bottom to the top. It's about working together. They've got to actually see the leaders, okay, in terms of people, the team leaders, collaborating with their staff, not just giving them tasks. It's got to be after they've done an audit on our system. This is what we do. After an audit's been done, the Chloe audit's been done, they then set the action for the staff, but they also have to collaborate and set goals with the managers, because it's this collaboration with the goals that gets the buy-in, and people always working in a collaborative way. You're more likely to be more effective, basically, in terms of results are going to be a lot more effective for you. And then also, that collaboration allows you to, with the connections, because it's the connecting with the clients and the clients' families and the staff. It's about ensuring that you've got instant connections with them and ways that connect in a meaningful way. Very important. And so your IT solutions have to promote that level of connection. You have to be able to, if you need to, give a social worker a limited amount of access, so or some family access, or the client's access to connect with their key worker or key working, or just to connect with you in terms of understanding that perhaps they may want to use your wellbeing area. Like we have a wellbeing centre on Care Consort, and the client can connect in that area with perhaps or staff can go in and hear the management reflections. Managers will go in and they will upload their reflections around, just in a compassionate way, about things that affect them, because it's creating that honesty and compassion that makes staff appreciate what managers and the leaders are going through, and again, they will help them along the way, as long as they can connect with them and understand their pain points. So things like reflections, wellness areas, your systems, if it's built into systems where you have these features that people can go in and make themselves more mentally strong, that's what we say, because it is a very, very stressful environment. It can be very testing unless you give people outlets, basically, to improve their mental well-being. And the way, it's how you communicate this, the communication of this to the staff. How easy is it for them to communicate their gripes, not just complaints, or just or for a client even to go on, not a complaint, but he may have a grumble. Okay, how easy is it for them to do that, and what sort of response are they going to get from man? Is it automated, for example? Our systems like to automate the responses in terms of, great thing I heard the other day, Timpson, they have a system where every week the clients go in and or staff will hit a button. How good was the service? 1 to 10. Okay. If it's below a certain level, they get an automated phone call, which is what we do now. So say the client put 6 in, that will send a signal to the manager to give that client a phone call, find out what was the issue, why wasn't it higher than that. Again, these are automated, so the clients have the power to send the trigger an action automatically. They haven't got to phone around or email or find out who the social worker is. On their portal, they log in, click a button, tip 6, and that's it. It gets sent. It's measurable. So they're always measuring and communicating how that weight of measure is being transmitted. So communication is critical. It helps you to get your values across. It helps you to everything. And I'm going quite fast because obviously our time is short. So when I look at at how we deal with people structure, right, in your services, okay. First thing that we have to make sure is that everything is streamlined, okay, because sorry, hold on, it's still there. It's streamlined because this is what makes it all work, basically. So once they have the governance meeting, the information from the governance meeting, the safeguarding panel meeting, which is how we structure it from the beginning, it's fed through automatically to the team. In fact, part of the governance panel is going to be your manager, with a part of the team, because we have to ensure that the information that flows back and forth is reaching the right people. So the information has to be streamlined and automated to the degree that your meetings, in our system, how it works, so the meetings, the agendas on the system, people within that home automatically get an alert. So the meeting's been scheduled for next week, and this is your agenda. Here is a handout, so you can prepare yourself for the meeting. And then, so they're already prepared, they're streamlined. And then when at the meeting, managers basically do the action plan there and then on our system, allocate any tasks to the staff members there and then, streamlined. And then if it isn't done, alerts get sent out. But again, so you've got to see how you can streamline what you're doing in your service and what systems that you can use to make sure that this process is totally streamlined. And not the fact that it has to be accessible from any device at any time, from any platform. That's the key. Because I'm not talking about those using paper, but those that are using only certain platforms, you have to use certain windows, or it could whatever. That's not the future of care. The care journey has to be that a client can log in from their phone or from their computer, no matter what they're using, and they're just in like that. And to keep it personalized, it has to be customizable. It needs flexibility. It needs to be flexible. And that's how we built Care Consort, to make sure that you can change any part of the system to suit what your service is about and how you do things. There's not one size fits all, as we know. It's all about customizing it to suit you. So whether it's the care plan, whether it's the questions in the audits, whether it's what it is, the whole system is changeable, flexible. And finally, and I know I've got, but probably not too long, but I think one of the most important things are, in terms of making it all stick, is ensuring that the systems that you're using allow you to evidence what has taken place at every step, because it's the evidence that you leave behind in your audit trail that protects your staff, protects you as a manager or as a provider. You have to make sure that you can leave evidence at each crucial point within, or juncture within the whole process of onboarding people, whether it's your procedures and evidence of your performance. Evidence is going to be the key. And earlier, I don't know if you were there, but heard Charmaine was talking about key working. So we have a system called Inspire, and it was built by King College London. And what they've done is they've built a system for people using care services, especially recovery, so that they can monitor. It's called I think it's a patient rated assessment process, basically, where they rate the quality of your key workers, the quality of your systems from a person-centered point of view. And it's been psychometrically tested and it's recommended to IMROC and recommended internationally. So when I'm saying that you're using systems that are evidence-based, try and pick systems that you can prove work. So yeah, fair enough, we all do key working, but is your key work system, is it evidence-based? Is it going to improve someone's state in terms of how they're able to do things, and from a recovery point of view, because that's the approach that we take in terms of everyone's got the choices and rights that we have and it's about giving them that, ensuring that they have that power to do things. So evidence-based systems are crucial. I'm happy to have any questions that anyone might have at this point that they want to talk to me about. Please feel free. I think that my video seemed to stop, sorry. There I am, yes. So please, any questions you have for me, I'm happy to answer them. I think I've got 5 or 10 minutes. Chanel, how are you for time?
You're great for time. Thank you, Stephen, for a really good presentation. So we've got a question that's come in. Is it so critical for a system to continue to improve in a safe and reflects your organisation values? How do you ensure that the organisation maintains those values that care for the client and with their staff? Okay, so what I'll say to that is, when we talk about values, we're talking about, I'm not going to say it's basic, but these are things. So you're working in the caring industry. I'd expect that the company to have caring values. So okay, you might trusting, empathy, integrity, honesty. So most of these values are going to actually tick that box of caring. And these things don't really change, to be honest with you. You're either caring or you're not. You don't change it the following month. Your values are, even think about yourself and your children, the values that you're doing your children, they don't change, do they? They're consistent, because care is something that is done consistently, but your values are going to be consistently good because you choose good values that are going to have longevity. That's the key, that aren't going to be changing next month to something else. You choose the right values and you don't need to change them because they're going to carry you into the future. I say choose your values wisely, and you won't need to change them, basically, because they will map with what is good. And in order to be compliant, you have to have, I can show you, but you have to have basic good values. And we're talking about the usual suspects: empathetic care, empathy, honesty, transparency. You need to choose your values in accordance to the guidelines, which is going to compliance, and in accordance to what you know is good and the right way to go about doing things, as to how you would like your mother or yourself to be treated in the same kind of way. The values will dictate behaviour. Great. I think it's also about, are your values embedded in your job descriptions? Are they communicated around the care home by different signage, perhaps? Are they communicated in team meetings? Yeah. Absolutely, Chanel. I think it's a good point there, actually, because how we do things is with our system, the values are on every single page, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a care plan, whether it's a daily record. You can't miss the values; they're there. Okay. But in terms of your job onboarding process, part of it, questions are going to be, one question is, what are your values? And to be quite honest with you, a good question that what we teach and what we do is say, explain, give an example of how you've used, or something you've done, how it actually shows that you are that kind of person. Give an example. Make people think about it. When they've got to think about it and write it down, then that's when they really understand why it's important. Because it's easy to say, yeah, okay, I'm honest. Okay, what have you done? You can demonstrate and show me. Okay, you act in a way that made somebody that in care feel good about themselves and remember something that you've done good for them. Show us, give us examples. They have to be questions that you build into the process. Examples of values, okay, and how they match with your values. And having said that, you are who your friends are in a way, because people may not initially know they've got the values, or may not know how to articulate it. But when they're in the environment, in the induction process for your company, when your values are actually part of the induction process, then it's easy to come understand why they're important, and then they can dig down and find out how what they're doing actually does match those values. So
So they may not understand it at first, but they may actually be doing things already, but just need to articulate it. And again, that's down to induction and discussing it in induction and having someone learning plan, including the values, and say, okay, well, look, I can evidence how they've been inducted into our business because here's the evidence, here's the learning plan, and you can see the section here that talks about the value. They've got our company training video focusing specifically on values, and here's their exam bit, could be their questions they've answered that demonstrate their knowledge of it. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that is very, very much so. So scenario-based questions at interview would be helpful. That's great. What about work shadow opportunities? Is that something that is quite common in care homes?
I missed that. So
work shadow opportunities. So someone's just started, they've completed their induction, but they're not really competent in one particular area. Would you encourage work shadow?
Again, it's very important. So, well, how we do it is we have a competence assessment and learning plan built into our platform. But what that means is that, yes, we have courses too. That's not good enough. They work. The manager, this is where accountability comes in. Like earlier, they have to be accountable. They have to sign off. They have to say, okay, well, I've seen Joe do this, and okay, now I can evidence as to why I'm going to say he's competent. They have to put a reason as to why he's competent in this area. So shadowing is one way of doing that. You know, as you said, there's all the other ways. People also they may have done something great on their own back, or off their own. And again, people see that they're competent within that area. But it's all about having somebody have to sign it off to them. Having somebody have to actually say, okay, I've seen them do that, I shadowed them, and I took that as part of their learning or training plan. That shadowing has to be built into the process, which is what we do. We build the process for people to follow, so it's easy A, B, C for them to do it. So very important. Shadowing, yes, is automated, and learning plan competency checks are automated. It's part of the process.
Okay, brilliant. A question that's come through is, will these slides be available?
My slides?
Yes, or the slides of today. The answer to it for me is yes, that's fine.
Yes, I'm happy to share slides. And I've got other slides I can get in detail, but for now, yes, I'm more than happy to help any way we can.
Okay, great. Let's just check any other questions. So Stephen, you touched on the wellbeing suite. Will we be seeing this later on, or perhaps tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm happy to show people how we do it. Like I said, other people may do similar things. I don't know, but we're focusing on wellness because in terms of care, not just for the clients, because clients have a wellness center as well on our system, also for the staff. And I think one example I gave earlier is things like management reflections, that people often overlook, but it's so important to have an area where managers can go on and they can talk about things that have affected them, their struggle, to staff in a compassionate way. We're building compassion and ways to build that into the systems. I spoke to earlier, systems alone will only get you there if the process is right. So yes, the wellness centre is what we have. So we have somewhere where you can signpost your staff onto appropriate services. They've got their wellness books and they've got their mindfulness. We're all in recovery, right? For something, okay. I'm pretty sure you understand that. So yes, that's how we do it here. I'm quite sure you're thinking about using. Ask them to have that built in, a wellness centre, a wellness suite that you can use easily.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So I'm just going to ask Colin and Jacob and Charmaine just to come back on, just to close for today and answer any questions that may have come through.
Cool. Hey, how are you?
Thank you.
I'm available if you have any questions.
Brilliant. A question that came through earlier, Colin, was about the facility of the interactive table. What games does the interactive table come with?
So the game comes preloaded with sensory games, and then within that, then we monitor the usage of that, and we'll then supply similar games of the same nature to that particular care home. So we're trying to always be creative when it comes to keeping the games fresh and what they're doing. But how many games are asked, would you say, it comes to?
Probably about 60.
About 60 games. So there is a lot. There's a lot to go through. They're not going to get bored, that's for sure. And, you know, at the end of the day, it is an Android tablet. So they can be downloaded and you can take some more. But the ones that we supply with them, they're all advert-free. They just work straight away. We can bespoke them to the requirements of the home.
Excellent, thank you. And you mentioned about the funding for care homes. Is this something that you could actually put into the chat facility, or is it visible on the website?
No, most definitely. So we're going to send through all the information today. So it will have the details of that grant that's available, the fund. It will also be the robots, how they actually work, and detailed stuff about the table and the panel. So we'll send that through. And also, most importantly, as well, the push pads, like I say. So we will send some of these through to each of you, and so you can try them out and see what you think.
Okay, great. Excellent. So I guess just to kind of wrap up for today's session, in terms of well-being, Charmaine, have you got any other last things that you want to leave with us?
No, just really to reiterate what's been said in terms of just making sure that we put well-being at the centre of our care for both staff and clients, and just making sure that we implement that within our service and within the systems that we use. So I would say that.
Okay, thank you very much. And Stephen?
I think that I've covered most of the areas that we need to cover as carers. So no, any questions, please let me know. At the moment.
Okay, brilliant. I know that you mentioned about systems having things at your fingertips. Is that quite common in a CQC inspection? You know, having things readily available.
It is. I'll tell you what I found, Chanel. Okay, so in my experience, when CQC turn up and managers are under pressure, one thing that I found is that often they have a certain amount of information available, and then they've got to run off and find something, okay, which causes pressure to the system. It's when they've got to log in another platform, or they've got to go to a folder, or when they've got to ask someone for access to something. So what you want, ideally, is you want to have everything one single source of truth. That's how I say it. That you can go to and you're not run up and down. You've got everything, your training, you've got your medication, you've got your care plan, you've got your HR stuff, you've got your wellness stuff. You can demonstrate how you're doing things. You've got your meetings, information and evidence. You've got to have all that together. You don't be logging in, logging out, or worse still, searching for emails for an audit that was done by a consultant a month ago. You don't want to do that. You want to have the audit right there in front of you, and this is where we're at with it. Here's the action plan that has come from that audit. Okay, so when I say single source of truth, that is, I think, one of the key components to eliminating the unnecessary pressure that you're going to find in a inspection scenario, because that in itself is an added dimension. But so when you got to start looking in at different systems, and not just find information, but also find how that's being measured. Like you also have to find the graphics, the bar charts, the information as to what you've done with information, okay, from each system. So that's what I found has been a struggle for many people that I've spoken to that use technology in care, and they've got information, but it's not that. It's that they haven't got it all together, and secondly, they haven't got evidence to show how they will evaluate that and make changes within their service quickly. That's the key.
Okay, great stuff. And Jacob, are you still with us? Okay. I'll pass you back on to Colin. Last words, Colin and the team.
So I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We've really enjoyed it. I know that you're all viewing us on many different platforms, you know, from our Facebook to our LinkedIn to our YouTube channel. So we're we'd like to thank you all very much for coming on board, and we hope that you found it interesting. And, you know, it's like it's a window into our world, and, you know, and how we see everything looking out, and hopefully we looking to engage with you really soon. So like I say, we have some push handles, some push pads that we'd love to send to you, and if we can get in contact with you and discuss more about these robots and how to bring everything to the next level, we'd love to be part of that with you, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.